Hi, what's up guys? Welcome back again to Vanz channel. Today I will share another list of recommended games which you can play on the Gamehub or Gamefusion emulator using a processor that has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. For those of you who requested for Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 and 7 Gen 3 yesterday, please be patient because making content like this is quite difficult and I am also busy in the real life. Okay guys, no more talking. Let's begin. First, NieR Replicant. There is no doubt that NieR Replicant definitely runs very well, and the FPS is above 50. 2. Watch Dogs 2. Please use the recommended resolutions, DXVK below, to maximize the performance of this game. Next, Resident Evil 3 Remake. This Resident Evil game will run quite well with the right settings using the recommended driver and DXVK. Next, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Almost all mid-range chipsets can play this game very smoothly, especially in the high-end class. 5. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Just by using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor, this game will run very well on this chipset. 6. Tomb Raider 2013. Just like before, this game also runs very well on this Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. 7. Dead or Alive 5. One of the fighting games that is quite popular and quite smooth for you to play on Gamefusion emulator. 8. Guilty Gear Strive. Use the system drivers and DXVK 1.1 0.3 below for best performance on this Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. 9. God Eater 2. This game contains new weapons, new finishing blows, and a huge volume of story contents of the sequel. 10. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Re 2 Remake is one of the games that is a bit difficult to maximize the FPS. Next, Assassin's Creed Unity. The following gameplay proves that this processor is very capable of running AC Unity quite well. Next, WWE 2K20. Almost all WWE series, some of them are still heavy in terms of performance when running this game on this processor. 13. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The following gameplay was played on this processor with max graphics settings. Next, A Plague Tale: Innocent. If you use good settings, this game should run better on Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 than on this. Next, Watch Dogs 1. As you can see, on a high-end Snapdragon it will be very capable of playing heavy games like this. Next, Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. Just like the previous list, this game runs very well too on this Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. 17. God of War 2018. God of War 4 is the best action game and very exciting for you to play in Gamefusion. Next, Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2 graphics are still pretty good to look at. The game also runs pretty well on this processor. Next, Mad Max 2015. Some people play this game smoothly on their devices. For suggestions, use driver settings and DXVK below. Next, Terminator Resistance. The graphics of this game are stunning, and it should definitely play pretty well on this chipset. 21. Dead Island Definitive Edition. The best zombie series game at the moment, now you can play it quite well. Next, World War Z. World War Z is also a zombie game that is quite exciting for you to play on Gamefusion. Next, Darksiders 3. This best hack-and-slash action game can also be played on the Yuzu emulator with almost the same FPS. Next, Hades 2. The following gameplay uses the maximum graphics settings and a fairly high resolution used on this processor. 25. Kena Bridge of Spirits. Kena is one of the best adventure games that was released on PC and has quite a lot of fans. Next, Stranded Deep. I suggest you guys to play this game on Yuzu emulator only. This game in Gamefusion, it is still unstable. Next, Ghost Runner 2. With FPS above 30, this game is definitely in the playable category for Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Next, Final Fantasy 15. If you find the graphics bug annoying, you can use the latest or compatible Turnip Mesa driver. 29. Resident Evil Biohazard. Resident Evil 7 is one of the games with quite good FPS performance on this processor. Next, Turbo Overkill. I suggest you to use the recommended driver and DXVK suggestions mentioned below. Next, A Plague Tale: Requiem. Don't forget to lower the graphics and use the settings that you think are better for running this game. Next, The Evil Within. Most likely some of you are running this game with frames per second below 20. Use your best settings to run more better. 33. Battlefield: Bad Company 2. This is a war game with quite realistic and impressive graphics for you to play. Next, Bound by Flame. Bound by Flame puts the player in the role of a victim of demonic possession. Now you can run this game. Next, Sleeping Dogs. Use System Driver or Turnip Mesa R8 driver to maximize performance and also use DXVK 1.103. Next, Crysis 3 Remastered. With the power of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset, this game will run quite well on Gamefusion. 37. Crysis Warhead. It's a first-person shooter in which players assume the role of Sergeant Psycho Sykes. Next, GTA 5. No doubt, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 can definitely play this heavy game perfectly on Gamefusion. Next, Assassin's Creed Rogue. This is a very playable game for you to play on almost all mid-range or high-end devices. Next, Battlefield 4. With the right settings, you can definitely play this game better than what you see now in this gameplay, using Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. 41. Crysis. Crysis is the first game in the Crysis game series. This game runs quite stable on this processor. Next, Crysis 2 Maximum Edition. With quite stunning graphics, Crysis 2 Maximum Graphics can be run with stable performance. Next, Biomutant. This game still can't be played with good performance, but if you have better than this, please comment. Next, Elden Ring. Elden Ring still runs with poor FPS. If you want to play it better, please root your phone and play on Win later. 45. Kingdom Come: Deliverance. This game made by Warhorse Studio can be played on Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with quite good FPS. Next, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just like the previous list, this game also runs quite well on this chipset. Next, Life is Strange. Life is Strange is an episodic adventure game developed by Dontnod Entertainment. Know you can run it. Next, NieR Automata. Use the latest Turnip R8 driver and DXVK as recommended below to maximize the performance of this game. 49. Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise is an action RPG that transports players to the colorful Kamura village. Next, Dragon Ball: Sparking Zero. This adventurous fighting game can definitely also be played smoothly on Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Next, Dark Souls 3. The following gameplay uses the latest Turnip R6 and DXVK drivers on Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Next, Divinity: Original Sin 2. Original Sin 2 features turn-based tactical RPG combat played from an isometric perspective. 53. Outcast: A New Beginning. Outcast: A New Beginning is a solid action-adventure title with some enjoyable action. Next, Control. Control is a game with quite unique combat to play in your Gamefusion for Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Next, Fallout 4. To run this game optimally, use the settings that you think are better for Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 on Gamefusion. Next, Silent Hill 2 Remake. This game is only to be played on high-end devices and use drivers in DXVK that are compatible with SD 8 Gen 3. 57. Scars Above. This game also runs quite well on this processor with the right settings and suitable drivers. Next, LX2. LX2 game is quite an impressive adventure and crafting game for you to play on Gamefusion Android. Next, The Witcher 3. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 should be able to play this game with stable and smooth performance for Gamefusion. Final list, Star Wars: Jedi Fallen Order. The Jedi Fallen Order is one of the games that is quite heavy to play on high-end device. Okay, those are some of the best games that you can play on Gamefusion using Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Some of the games above can certainly be played more smoothly if you use WinLater, which has been optimized in developing PC game emulators for Android. Okay, if you find this video useful, please share it with your friends. And also don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Van Z channel. Okay guys, see you next time. Bye.